Welcome to Outside the Box, number 2. And we're deciding on another topic for the off-topic discussion. And we're going to talk about the MCU since the new Ant-Man movie's coming out this Friday. We avoided Ruby because we got Fortnite coming out this Saturday, but nobody's interested. But we thought we would touch on this Linkin Park subject because Meteora has been released about I think it was 20 years ago, is it?
It's the 20th anniversary of Meteora. They released an album with a lot of unheard songs from the cutting room floor, including Lost, which came out last week, which is fantastic. Basically, it was a song they completely recorded back 20 years ago with Meteora, but they decided it sounded too much like Numb, so they cut it from the album, and now they've re-released it now here in 2023, which is very exciting. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a really cool album.
Yes.
But yeah, we're here to discuss Linkin Park. I got my High Big Theory t-shirt on, and we're going to talk about 20 years of Meteora. Do you remember this album? Do you have fond memories of this album? Because I do.
The only thing I know about this album is that my sister's got it, so I don't know if she's got it with her because she moved to a different house. But yeah, so right. Linkin Park is this band that's has Chester as a lead and has segments of rapping.
Yeah.
And it introduces some kind of grunge rock or something like that is really fresh in the 21st century. Hybrid Theory was the first album that came out in about 2001, and it featured of, I don't know, it's just Crawler.
Yeah.
And it's followed by other tracks as well. And
one second. In the End, Paper Cut. I was a massive fan of Hybrid Theory. Is one of my favorite albums of all time. But I love that album.
There's also a remix album that is known as Reanimation, and it's got some really good remixes. One of them eventually got into the charts, so that's great. Yeah. But it then leads into the another album, which is named as Meteora, which is probably probably the most impressive album so far. So, what do you think?
I mean, they've released about 7 or 8 albums now, but as a teenager, Meteora was my favorite. Well, Hybrid Theory and Meteora were 2 of my favorite albums as a teenager. I remember growing up, it was basically Linkin Park was what introduced me to rock and roll and heavy metal and rap, that kind of music. I was not into rock at all until I heard Linkin Park, and Linkin Park, overnight, I was got chains, jeans, wearing my rock t-shirt, long hair, going, yeah, rock and roll, love Linkin Park. And I remember meeting up with all the kids in high school, and there's this hill where all the rock kids all used to hang out.
High school?
And we used to,
is it secondary school, or was it college?
Secondary school, so...
Then wouldn't that be middle school, is it?
It's high school over here, middle school in America. Over here it's called high school in the UK.
Okay. But anyway, how did you look back then? Were you trendy or have longish hair?
No. I look like this. I look exactly the same. I changed
minus the beard.
I wasn't minus the beard. Yeah, I still had hair, a lot of fish. But yeah, when I was a teenager, it was I was normal clothes before that, and then suddenly overnight, I started to Linkin Park, started to grow my hair out, had wear rock t-shirts and jeans and stuff, and I basically haven't changed since. I've been a rocker ever since. I love rock and roll, love metal and stuff like that, and Linkin Park was my introduction to it. I used to love Linkin Park, and as you were saying about Reanimation, basically. I liked Reanimation, but a lot of people didn't, and it was it kind of put a lot of people off Linkin Park. So I was oh, that's sad. I like Linkin Park, but no one else seems to. And then Meteora came out, and everyone liked Linkin Park again. I was yay!
Yeah, I actually own the Reanimation album because I like one or 2 tracks from it. It's so good, but I was pretty much almost out of the loop with Meteora because I was following a lot of rock bands like Tenacious D and Blood
yeah,
Dolls or some sort.
yeah.
But yeah, it just certainly like has a lot of rock when in the last years of my school. But I think when this came out, do you know when exactly Meteora came out? Is it like late 2003 or is it early 2003?
It was 2003. I don't know the exact date. I can look it up if you like.
Yes, because
should have had that.
Because this is a year where I did like GCSE exams, went through them, and then I just got to college. And I was
March 25th, 2003.
oh, why? Because I think that's when I was like doing revision and exams because I had to like spend so much time like trying to revise for them, and it's like taken seriously. Which at the same time, I was just trying to get rid of my stress with theatre games with it too. So when I went to college, it's like went off the music a bit and just like following a bunch of games, and I think it was like a nice year towards the end because I get to look at Games Master on Challenge as well as like looking at several different games. But I wasn't completely aware of Meteora, and what I know mostly was to do with like Hybrid Theory and Reanimation, which I thought these are great albums.
Yeah.
But when the Meteora came out, it was just like, oh, it was a continuation of Linkin Park, but Linkin Park is still like one of the best bands as far as I know, and it is like still part of my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, it's still part of my childhood. I got so much nostalgia for the Meteora and for Hybrid Theory. I've ordered the Meteora 20th anniversary album that's coming out. But yeah, it's just like Meteora as like I used to be in a band with my neighbours and stuff, and it used to be like they used to be our inspiration was Linkin Park. We used to always like Linkin Park. Got an electric guitar. Never learned how to play it, but I got one. I've been a drummer, I've been a singer, I've done all sorts, and it's just, I love Linkin Park. They were such a good band, and like I fell off Linkin Park after Meteora. To be fair, I don't really know much of their later stuff. I know what I've done because that's from the Transformers soundtrack. That was like fourth or fifth album, but I don't really follow. To be honest, as I said, because this discussion is about the Meteora 20th anniversary. I thought, well, I know about Meteora, we can discuss that for sure.
Well, you mentioned about the Transformers because wasn't it one of the tracks on Meteora that ended up in Transformers, right?
No, it's what I've done. I can't remember what album that's from. It's from a later album. Meteora had songs like Numb. Everyone knows Numb. Numb's like one of the most iconic Linkin Park songs, and Faint.
Oh, like I feel so numb, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought it was from like 2007, but I think I was mistaken to know that Meteora came actually from like 2003, and I was like almost completely unaware of that.
Yeah, what I've done is from 2007. That's from, does it say the album? Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah.
Which I never, that was after I kind of fell off Linkin Park. And I feel bad now listening back. I was like, oh, they still were quite good. I just fell off a little bit. I think that's the thing with Linkin Park. They always are evolving. They always change their style of music. And some people didn't like that, and some people liked it. It's like the Jay-Z album was kind of the one where I was like, oh, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'm not into this. I lost interest in them when they joined up with Jay-Z and did their album with them. But they never were complacent. They never just stuck to one style of music. I think that's probably why I like the Lost song so well. Like Lost is just the one they just released last week. Lost. I think the reason I like it so much is because it is an original Linkin Park song. It's a song that they recorded 20 years ago, and it's not their new style of music. It sounds like it's weird. It's nostalgic, yet it's new. It feels like it's you can tell it's an old Linkin Park song because of the style they had, but but obviously it's a new song because you've never heard it before.
Yes,
it's fascinating. It is.
And what's really impressive that when I saw it, which is released like in a few days ago, it has this seemingly AI generated video, or is it rotoscoped? I'm not sure, but it is a anime like music video that goes along the art style of Akira, and it just like shows all this impressive stuff. And I think, this is a really good music video. But it's also a bit sad to like hear the lead again after he passed away like a few years ago. I did remember you made a video of you talking about his death and talking
Yeah, it
about
was very
depression.
sad. Yeah, so that was back in 2017. Now, what I was going to also mention, the animation style is also a throwback to "Breaking the Habit," which is one of their most iconic music videos. From that is also from Meteora as well. So if you look at the music video for "Breaking the Habit," that's got a very similar art style to it. Yeah, I mean, I was gutted. 2017 that was when he passed away. Obviously, it's suicide, which is horrible. So I mean, like seemingly from the outside, he had everything. He had kids and a wife, and he was a rock star. He had all the money in the world, and he had everything you would think could make you happy, and he was still sad and still miserable, still depressed. So I feel like if obviously you are feeling down, please reach out to someone. I mean, that's important to mention as well. Make sure that you speak up and don't just like hold it in. And it's sad listening to these songs because a lot of the lyrics do touch on that as well. And it's like he was telling us that he was feeling depressed, which is, oof, it cuts at you, it cuts at your soul a bit when you listen to. So I enjoyed listening to the song "Lost," but the lyrics can really like I'm lost in the memory and I can't escape and stuff like that. And some of the lyrics, I'm just like, oof. It's a bit close to home.
Yeah.
It's sad. And it's some of my favorite bands of all time are like Queen and stuff like that. Them. Whereas it's like Freddie Mercury's been dead since I heard of him. So it's weird to listen to a band that I had people who were alive and now they're not. It's weird. It's more. I've never had that experience. I've had bands where, like Queen, as I said, I've never as far as Freddie was gone before I really was a fan of him. Whereas Chester, like dying and now hearing new songs from him is weird. It's really surreal and weird.
Yeah,
and it's not something I'm used to.
Bear in mind that I think some of the viewers who might be watching this might be born after the hyper theory. But for us, we grew up with a great Linkin Park doing adolescent years or some sort. I don't know what's the way, or young years.
I feel.
But to me, I think it's like since you mentioned about Queen, Freddie Mercury was like has died when I was like really young.
Yeah.
And I noticed like Queen in some of the music tracks, like Made in Heaven and stuff on Top of the Pops. But it wasn't until like I went to the musical We Will Walk You in like the 21st century, and that's when I was properly introduced to Queen. And yeah, I'm just really loving them. So good.
Oh yeah, I adore Queen. Yeah, as I just say, like there's a lot of bands out there that have lost singers and stuff, and I've just known them. Like I've always listened to their music, and this is the first time I've really had an artist that I grew up with, and then they're gone. It's just weird. It's a weird feeling to know that Chester's gone, and it's just sad.
Don't forget, Michael Jackson, which I grew up with his music. He died.
That's true, Michael Jackson as well. Yeah, to think of that. Good point.
I think that's about a decade or two ago. I don't know. There's also.
I think it was 2009. Yeah, I think he died. I think I might be wrong, but I think it was 2009. I'll have to look that up.
Prodigy. I think two of the people of the band Prodigy. They did a lot of music when I was like about 10ish or some sort. Lots of really great music that persisted into the 21st century. Two of the members died there. So I think it's just like some of the musicians we grew up with eventually dying. And it's also sad to like know like all those childhood heroes, like is it Chester or some sort?
Chester, yeah.
Yeah, he died. And also I think it's Jason or whoever this guy. He played Tommy the Green Ranger from the Power Rangers.
Yes, Green Ranger
returns. Yeah. He also died by suicide. So I think it's just really is heartbreaking when lots of people have died young with it. So I think it's important that when it comes to the music and entertainment, it's something that keeps us together. Then it's just something that we can like hold a candle for and just like enjoy those type of things.
I think Chester, as I said, Chester will live on forever in his music, and it's sad to think that he's gone. And I know, if you are struggling and you have negative thoughts, please reach out to someone and people. I think maybe people are more. I mean, I don't like. Is this dark? Yeah, it's dark subject, but it's just like people are more. I think people would be more happy to hear from you, and than I forgot what I was going to say now. People would prefer to listen to what you have to say now than to go to your funeral. That's basically it. You should make sure you just speak up and don't let stuff get to you, and try and because it's gone dark. But basically, we're just it's just we obviously just reach out.
I would like to add that when I saw you were just talking about it in your Potato Pro Wrestling channel, which was back then was PotatoChief, and it's like pretty much touched to buy it, because I've been dealing with lots of depression, which I had a major depression episode about over a decade ago, and I'm still tackling with depression. So it's really difficult, like how it's more difficult for me to wake up, and how I would try to get through it. But I think it's important that, I think it's more important for people to understand than trying to like judge others for what they did or what they're doing. And
for sure,
it's a very difficult thing. So, but I think when it comes to like people like Chester and everyone like that, I think it's important that I think it's like something we have to respect them, and also we have to celebrate of their challenges, how they contributed to what we grow up with.
Yeah, I think it's sad, but so I mean, I want to try and celebrate a bit more and try and I know it's sad, but we also want to celebrate the fact that it's been 20 years since this great album came out. They're re-releasing it with a load of new tracks, or previously unheard tracks. I think that's fantastic. Mike Shinoda's still going strong. He's got his own rap career going on, and he's working with this. So shout out to Mike. He seems like a really nice guy, Mike Shinoda, and it must be really difficult for him. I can imagine it must be like losing a family member. I feel like this Meteora is one of my favorite albums ever, and the fact that they're re-releasing it for the 20th anniversary, I think, is really cool. I'm really looking forward to listening to these other tracks that have been unheard as well. I'm interested to hear them.
By the way, so is it the Meteora 20th anniversary, or is it a completely new album?
It's the 20th anniversary of Meteora, and it's got a second disc that's all unheard tracks. Like
I might actually get it on either CD or digital. So I think it would be nice for me to get it. So get a check of the lost tracks, because I got a Queen complete. But even though I got Greatest Hits 1 and 2, I got like Queen complete, and it's even got some unreleased tracks, including Freddie Mercury's duet with Michael Jackson. So it's quite cool. Anyway,
that's cool.
We're certainly talked about enough about it, and I think it is particularly important for us to talk about it, because it's almost like 6 years since we lost Chester from like Linkin Park, and it's also the 20th anniversary of Meteora, because mind you, it's released at the same time when Metroid Prime came out in the UK on March. So I think there's certainly a lot of nostalgia coming on. So. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to Outside the Box. We plan to do more subjects, and if you've got any suggestions, let us know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe. So anyway, take care and look after yourselves. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at xmarksbox on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube. And follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.